There. Yep. We're getting relaxing painting on Wednesday, but it's not a sub-wed. It's not Submarine Wednesday this week. After having gone through Sub-Fry and Sub-Mun, 3 submarine sessions in a row, the rosin printer got going and has produced minifigs. And so rather than working on the submarine on this Wednesday, having done it 3 days in a row, I'm going to be working on some of these minifigs in a while. So just, no, what can I say? Sometimes things change. Things change and you have to adapt and, go with the flow and all of those other cliches and stuff like that. But because these are here and ready to be painted, decided to give this a go instead of Submarine Wednesday. And there's another reason for that, in that although I have found a way to finish, I hope, the missile tubes for the missile room, painting them yellow, because the first spray painting did not come out even at all. It just didn't. So a second coat needs to go on, but it can't be done the same way. It's going to be very tedious. I have to put them on, each one held on a little piece of balsa wood and rotated and held up to a background and get a headlamp or something so I have enough light to see what needs to be painted and not painted. That's all very tedious, and I've been avoiding it. And in addition to that, just to add to the excuses, it's been way too cold in the garage to do spray painting the last couple of days. So it's supposed to warm up Thursday and Friday. So the excuses are going to be gone, and it needs to be done because I need to get those missile tubes painted so I can actually move forward with the submarine. But here, let me show you what I've got. These are all kind of interesting creatures. This is like a giant moss monster. Okay. It's just like all sorts of vines and spikes and things all over it. That's supposed to be painted to look like it's like emerging, and it's basically ooze and goo and things like that. So I might give that a try. Not today. I'm going to paint something else today, but soon. This is an archer of some sort for a reason. And it looks like there's a couple of, maybe some, I think those are ears, maybe? It looks like that's intentional. It's sort of a sprite. It's got these wings, and one of them is broken. Okay, this one came off. And so we all get to watch epoxy set today, and I'm going to repair that fairly early, maybe first thing in the stream. There's another sprite-like creature holding a lantern, either a lantern or a really nasty grenade. I'm not sure which. But yeah, this one's got some. Let's see what that is. I don't think that's part of it. Part of this is going to be putting on my head magnifiers to see whether those are like printing flaws or whether those are supposed to be something. It doesn't look like that's supposed to be part of it, though. That would be awkward. Anyway, that's another one that gets painted. There is a unicorn. I was told this is a Shetland pony unicorn because of the hair coming down. Instead of a standing up mane, it's a flowing mane. And this has little bits of. Sometimes when things print, there's sometimes just little bits of rosin that are sort of support features. Those came right off without breaking it. That was good. The ones I'm going to be working on, though, are these. This is a specific character whose name I can never remember. People, they tell me, and then I can't remember what it was. So, an astronaut of some sort, right? Some sort of thing from the divine plane. Nicole and Alexa suggested that it actually be painted, the flesh is silvery, should be silvery, so I can, as I've been doing with some of the others, do an undercoat of a metallic and then an overcoat of probably one of these pearlescent paints. These pearlescent paints to make it look all silvery and glowy and things like that. And here's another one. I don't know if they're related or not. This is very specific because of the hammer. Okay, this one's carrying a big sword, but will probably be painted in the same fashion. And then I'll be dealing with little bits of armor and things on them. So that I'm spending some time here talking about things that I'll be working on. It is sort of traditional for me to not actually begin doing any kind of painting or anything at all, for at least 15 minutes. So I've got a little time yet. These are the parts of the submarine that I had been working on, and I'm going to put those away. I've got this handy box here, the box that will be 4 parts. Some of these came out pretty well, I thought. I was kind of happy with how some of this came out. This isn't done yet. I guess this is going to have to wait until sub Wednesday next week, but the bottom part of this on both sides needs to be painted the dark gray ballast tank color. Otherwise, the detail is done on this. So that can be put away. I'm just putting paper towels down so that the paint doesn't get scarred up. These are parts of this. This is the heat exchanger, where the superheated water comes out of the reactor, comes down, sinks to the bottom, cools off. Its heat is transferred to the superheated steam that goes up through these other 2 pieces once they're assembled through this pipe, one pipe into the engine room. And then this is the reactor core. It's cut away, and see it's glowing white, almost white hot, and the cooler water comes up from the bottom and heats up and goes out through the top. That's how that works. So put that in the box too. Cover it up so it doesn't get too dusty and wander off screen. I haven't wandered off screen now for yet this stream, so I'm going to do my wandering off screen right now and put this box of parts over where it is moderately safe. Just keep moving things around, not reducing the clutter, just moving it to a different spot. There we go. Clutter moved. More clutter. Okay, some of these figs now just need to be put aside because I'm not going to be working on them today at all. That includes this one, the unicorn, the archer. Okay. These I'm going to put in a safe place, so I'm going to, looks like I'm going to have to wander off screen again. I'll be back in a bit. You can't see me because I'm off screen. What I'm doing off screen is putting these on a flat surface somewhere else. Oh, no, not the archer. The archer is the one with the broken wing, right? So that does get to be worked on today. I get to mix some epoxy and stick that back on. Yeah, so these guys, this one's got some flaws on it that need to be, bits of plastic that need to be taken off. Between the wings, some little strings on the wings. Strings on the wings that when painted will be obvious and will be distracting. And then there's this bit here, a little prong that's not breaking off, so I'm going to file it off, which is, no, it did. Well, that worked. So this one is going to get painted today in celestial colors because it's an astronaut kind of thing. I don't know if we'll run into it. I'm not sure what Alexis has in mind. And this one is actually like a named figure. They are, I don't know. I can't remember. I am told what this is and how it should be painted, more or less. And then, unless I make a note of it, all I remember is that this is supposed to be painted blues and whites and glossy. So the wings will be, I don't know, some sort of like white and silver. So we're looking at white and silver and blue kind of look, that kind of look. With the skin is supposed to be silvery, with maybe a pearlescent wash on it to bring out the detail. Yeah, we'll find out how they look when they get to it. This one, putting on my head magnifiers for this, it looks like there's some major pieces of plastic where they shouldn't be, of the rosin anyway. Rosin is just a fancy word for plastic. Yeah, definitely those need to come off. It's a pretty simple, straightforward figure. It might be an okay thing to paint. Maybe Friday. It'd be kind of like rangerish. It's got like elf ears. I think that's a lantern. Having a staff and a lantern and has wings. So maybe this would be like greens and yellows, kind of forest green kind of color, and then the wings can be a major piece of plastic that's not coming off very easily. But it's on camera. You get to watch me try not to break things. Yeah. Yeah, it gets you almost busted the staff, right? There we go. Get one end off and then it just flicks off. Excuse me. File that down just a little bit, otherwise there'll be a very, very big lump on her knee or its knee. And there's still a little piece here. There. So this one can go over off screen with the other one. There we go. And then this wing came off, needs to be put back on. See how it fits. That was a pretty clean break. That's not too bad. So just to get a nice slow start on Wednesday, which is not sub Wednesday. Maybe that's startling and confusing. They're not a sub on sub Wednesday. The answer is I have D&D minifigs to paint, and it's been such a long time since I've had any that that's what I'm going to do. And besides that, I haven't gotten the missile tubes done yet because it's been too cold to do spray painting in the garage. Okay. And I'm going to need like a dot of epoxy. The holes that I drilled in the tops of these containers are too small, actually, which makes it possible to get very small quantities of the rosin and the hardener. They come out. You have to squeeze pretty hard to get a little bit out. Something else to do sometime. Maybe one of these days I'll come back. Okay, well, what are you thinking? For a thing for a character, you can't explain it? What kind of thing would it be? Okay, this is 5-minute epoxy, and if I put it on and attach the piece now, I'll have to hold it for 5 minutes. So, as is usual with 5-minute epoxy on this stream, is I let it sit for 3 minutes. And not for sure I brought down a mug of coffee. And usually I set it back here behind me so that I don't knock it over, but it's not here, so I'm not sure where it went. Probably still sitting up on the kitchen counter. Yeah, thank you. You redeemed 100 hydrate points and I don't have a liquid dick here. Maybe I'll take a little break sooner than later. Wander off screen again, because why not? And try to retrieve my mug. My official Dice and Dungeons logo embossed mug. I should show that off. I mean, I sip out of it on the stream pretty often, but I haven't really showed it off yet. I should do that. Okay, well, here, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to let this epoxy set for 2 minutes, and I am going to wander off again and find my Dice and Dungeons logo embossed mugs so that I can hydrate. Be back, well, definitely within 2 minutes, otherwise that's going to set up and going to be wasted. Well, yeah, so in some ways this was actually a surprise. Yeah, I poured some coffee. There it is, with milk, cream actually. And just set it down and wandered off and did something else. But look, if you can see it, there it is, the official Dice and Dungeons logo embossed coffee mug. I don't know why we don't sell these things. All the Dice and Dungeons fans out there. Be a reason. When it comes to business decisions for Dice and Dungeons, yeah, I'm not really that much involved. I do the bookkeeping. That's pretty exciting. Not. Yeah, I need to put my hit magnifiers on again to do this. I am definitely not. Oh, okay. Well, I hope things go well for you today. Have a good day, and thanks for stopping in earlier. Maybe you can catch this on YouTube. I might actually get something done today. I don't know. So now I need to hold this for like 2 minutes so that the epoxy can cure and be strong enough to hold it on its own. I think that's copyrighted. I can't hum that singing. The time passing tune. The resin printer produced all sorts of winged creatures this time. It's like 4 winged creatures, a giant moss fungus monster, and a smaller Shetland pony unicorn. So I need to hold this probably for like another minute yet. We don't want to just let it go and have it fall off. I'm going to try to reposition it since I seem to have it, pretty much in the right spot. And then those two figures there that are on camera just before on top of the white cardboard there, those are what I will kind of be painting today, I guess. Yeah. For some reason, it's stuck to my finger. Okay, that's where it's supposed to be. It needs to stay there. Seems to be holding okay. I'm going to let this set here. See if it stays put like it should. If it does, that would be great. I'm just tearing off the corner here, or maybe cutting it off. Because why waste some perfectly good, already messed up cardstock, right? Just because there's a drop of epoxy on it. There, that's gone. All right, I'll throw this away. Put this aside. Let me take a look at these and see what I'm really dealing with. Pants, belt, shoes, some strings. Those need to come off. There's really not much here. There's wings, flesh. Big hammer thing. We need to clean these off. So, big steel hammer. They said, well, Alexis suggested that the flesh should be painted like silvery, almost metallic-y. So I think I'm going to start with the pants, just to do something simple. Then paint the flesh. Just a whole lot of silver with some sort of overlay on it. I'm not sure what to do with the wings. I'm thinking, look, I'm thinking just basically, maybe I'll paint them white, like white. Put on this doesn't cover very well. The pearlescent paints, they're more like they're translucent. And so what I will need to do is I'll make them white, and then I'll put this gloss on it. And then maybe, just checking to see that that's holding, then maybe I'll do this pearlescent blue as a dry brush on it, so that the wings will be basically white and glossy with sort of a blue highlighting. Let's see if I've got anything else. There's another pearlescent blue, but I think it's way too dark. Here's the green blue. This is this color. The colors don't come across all that well, but that's kind of like the blue that I used on the heat exchanger. I could, instead of blue, use this kind of almost coppery color. Wonder how that would look on the silvery flesh. Be too red. Okay, I'm just going to do a test swatch here. I'll work on the pants pretty soon, pants and shoes. But, this is something I did with the submarine, was just sort of do some test swatches just to see how things would look. This is the white with the blue on it. This is silver with blue. The white tones it down. I think the pearlescent white would look good. So there's that. That's pretty good. I used up a half hour. I haven't really done anything other than epoxy the wing on. This is becoming a pretty classic stream of Dyson Dungeons. So one thing I will do a little bit later, because this should be sub Wednesday, is I'm going to pull out the missile tubes so that you can all see what I've been trying to avoid working on, and why it's been such an issue. Put this on Sticky Tack steams. A little bit large and a little bit heavy, but let's push it down and not break it. I broke the base of one of these beasts once. I think it was one of the centaurs. I was pushing it down on the edge and it just cracked because this rosin is kind of brittle. Okay, I'm going to paint the pants. I'm going to do this kind of in a celestial kind of color, right? Thinking maybe either blue-green or turquoise. Yeah, let's use the blue-green. Let's do that. Can be found. Here, look at that. Picked it right out. Give it a good stir here. It hasn't been used in a while. Just looking at this, it almost looks like he's wearing a cowl. As opposed to that being part of the musculature. But I can't really tell. I guess those are just like his collarbones, I guess. Yeah, there's no evidence of clothing there. It adhered when I did the priming. We have a couple of cats, one of which just sheds hair everywhere. A couple of dogs, but they're poodles, so they don't shed. Anyway, yeah. And let's pick a brush. I'll pick this brush. And I'm going to put some paint on this guy just because it's like 45 minutes in and I probably should do some painting because it's, relaxing painting with Dice and Dungeons. As the music is playing, that's kind of cool. Hopefully you can hear it. Sometimes it shows here that it's playing, but the output device is selected wrong or something. Oh, that's just not mixed well at all. Wow. Yeah, that came out as two different colors, which means that the pigment and the solvent are not well mixed. Let's see, on Monday, which turned out to be a submarine Monday, that's when I got the heat exchanger and reactor core done. That was a pretty successful submarine Monday. But now it's Wednesday and I'm not doing a submarine because I've got these minifigs. See if this is any better. Yeah, much better. It's mixed better. That's how it's supposed to look. You can hold this up to the camera, and you can see how that isn't the same as that. Now it's well mixed. Guy has a belt. The belt needs to be painted a different color. We need to do some sort of wash on these pants. If they're going to look really bland. I think this is a good astronaut color, if that's what this is. This would be more interesting, if I'd kind of taken some notes. I should have taken some notes when I was getting an explanation of what this character was, because then I could do a D&D thing and talk about the character and some of his backstory, what it represents, all of that sort of thing. That would be a good D&D thing to do. But I can't because, I didn't take notes, and all I remember was I was told this was sort of an angelic figure, and that we're gonna put some sort of metallic silvery skin. There, I did some painting. That was some relaxing painting on Dice and Dungeons. Need to decide what color to do the boots. Could do those in the turquoise. Why not? Yeah, this paint also has a tendency to separate like that did. You get to hear this mix flow out. Looking. Thinking that, with the wings of putting a white base coat on and then doing an overcoat, like a wash kind of, with the this is just not mixed at all. With the green, blue pearlescent paint, and then doing a dry brush with the white over that. So it's got white highlights on blue rather than blue highlights on white. I think I'm going to try to do that. I don't know what to do with the mace. But if I'm going to put a white base coat on the wings, I'm going to have to do 2 coats. I think. So I'm going to do that after I do the boots, because I'm already mixing the paint. After I do the boots, I'm going to put the first base coat on the wings. And then I'm going to do a test over here of the color combo that I just talked about. Wow, that just isn't mixed. It's amazing. Hate to waste little drops of paint like that, but these blues especially, they cover really well, but the pigment settles out of them almost, more so than I think some of the other paints. It's good old-fashioned handshaking. Like this is something that needs to be done. It's okay. It's a little unusual. There's a lot less detail than most of the others that I've done. I'm not saying that that's a bad thing. It makes painting a little easier. But even on the feathers, it's just not, it doesn't show all the fine feathery detail. And it's not the printing, because the printer does a really good job. If there's detail in the design or whatever it is, the program, the thing that tells it what to print, right? Anyway, yeah, I mean, it does that. It does as much detail as it is told to do. Put a pearlescent wash over these things once they dry, just to make it look glowy. Figure is going to be glowy. The wash water is turning out kind of cool. Let me show you now. It's this milky white with blue undertones. Yeah, I probably don't need these on to paint the freight base coat on the wings. Hanging out awkwardly on my forehead. Oh, okay. Yep. I should do this while the paint is still there. Still wet. What better, if you're going to be in fashion, than to have your shoes and your belt match, right? I think that used to be a thing. Matching shoes and belt. There was a time. This was not the best of times for fashion. Where it was not only socially acceptable, but it was considered to be fashionable for men to wear white shoes and a white belt. People did that on purpose. I don't know. What can you say? What can you say about a time when that was a thing that people did intentionally? Of course, we had disco then too, so. Things just sort of went together at that time. Yeah. Isn't the best belt painting ever, but it'll work. Looking at it from the top here, painted the belt color because if it's not, it'll just look like a big roll of flesh around the top of where the belt will be. That would be inappropriate for this very buff interloper from the divine plane. Not sure, exactly where that line is going to end up when I paint the silver paint on the body, but it'd look better if it's higher up like that. Okay. Well, those are nice glowy pants. Wow. It's too bad that they're so they're really nice color. I'm gonna have to show this to them and say, should I do something with it or not? I'm not sure. I'm going to try this. I'm going to do another test. I really like that color, and it looks almost iridescent. I don't know why. It's supposed to be flat paint, but okay. What I'm doing is putting a test patch out here of that really nice pants color, right? And when that dries, what I'm going to do is test it with this pearlescent overlay on it. See how that looks. I don't know how that will look. I really don't. But I think it's like, well, those are pants. Yep. Hey. You like the pants, huh? Yeah, I didn't know. That's a little surprising how those turned out. But yeah, they might be just fine like that. Okay, well, the wings are getting a white base coat. Did I do this again? Always put this in a place I can find it, and I don't. There. Dead white. This is a very white that I have used fairly sparingly on things. It covers poorly. I want to paint the wings now, and if I need a second coat, then I'll have a little time to let it dry. So how you doing, Medicinal Shy Guy? You notice that I'm not doing a Submarine Wednesday today because I did 3 submarine days in a row. and I'm taking some time to actually start painting these minifigs. Because they came right off the rosin printer yesterday. And it was too cold. It was too cold to do spray painting on the missile tubes. But probably, maybe while I'm waiting for this white paint to dry, because it'll take just a little while to do that. If I have to wait for this white paint to dry on the wings, maybe I'll show you the missile tubes and the method I have concocted to get the second coat on and get them painted evenly. When I do these features, like in these hard to reach places. Fortunately, I can put this base coat on and then come back and paint the flesh its silvery color. That'll be the flesh base coat. I am told that it is appropriate for this particular character to have silvery metallic flesh. Why, I don't know, but that's what I'm told. So I was given the go-ahead to do it that way. Painting it this way, if this is just a base coat, you might only need one coat, which would be good, because I'd get this one just sort of moving along, so I can do something similar to the other one. The other one, the one carrying the sword, looks a lot like this one. This one is like a special named character. The other one's, I don't know, maybe it's a sidekick. Maybe it's a sidekick character. I want to paint it in similar colors, then they can come out as a couple. Use the same color combination, on the cloak kind of thing here. I guess it's a good thing to be busy at work, because, then you're working. But I also have to say that it's a really good thing to be retired and not be busy at work. This is like being busy at work for me now, is doing this relaxing painting. I'm told I have to call it relaxing painting, right? Even though for me this is a job now. But it's pretty relaxing. It's not as relaxing as not doing anything. That's pretty relaxing, but it's not relaxed. All of these paints seem shinier today than they had in the past. I'm not sure. Maybe it's the light. It's not a bad thing, because this is a shiny character. Like the pants. Well, at least one of the dogs is awake and rampaging. Good grief. rampaging through the house. This morning. Yeah, okay. Well, it gets pretty flat as it dries. Thank you for the new follow. Welcome. Yeah, so I'm going to let this paint dry a bit. I'm going to take a little time and I always do that. I was painting along and then, owl bear, cool. Oh, I really like owl bears. It's one of my favorite things, even though they can be pretty nasty. So I'm just, painting along here and then the paint right on the pants and the belt. I think this paint, both colors, I still have a little bit of them left. But it's really annoying when it happens. It's like, that part is done and it looks good. And then it's, what can I do to, mess that up? And the thing to do to mess it up is to paint another color and be careless. So I was. There from here. Since you are Kaz the DM, I'm guessing that you are a DM. Oh yeah, you do digital art. That can be pretty nasty, isn't it? Is that you're doing digital art and you get something that you like. Oh, I did that and it looks good, right? And so if you do something and it looks good, then you should walk away from the screen and come back and forget to save it. If you're real unlucky, you'll have things like a cat, and you don't save before you walk away to get maybe a beverage or something. Then you come back and you find your cat on the keyboard, right? And you find your artwork has, if it hasn't disappeared, if it hasn't like completely disappeared because of what the cat did, it might be like mangled beyond all recognition. What I have, sometimes one of our cats like to sit on the keyboard, but now the other cat has decided that that's a fun thing to do as well. And so sometimes I'll come back and let's just say that a reboot is totally necessary because the entire display is gone. I guess I've been pretty lucky so far that at least when the cat does that, he hasn't ordered anything, inadvertently. I didn't have like the chewy, mail order delivery screen up. And come back and find out that I just ordered 57 pouches of cat treats. Not that the cat would do that intentionally, but that's the kind of thing that could happen. Okay. Yeah, they do like to mimic their people. Fortunately, we don't have any people who ex-cat darkness. That's very good, yes. Yeah, I think what could happen is you could have like the Chewy window open, and then the cat could come up and just lay down on a numeric keypad. Maybe order something like 12,174 of something. And, somebody might think it's a little bit odd as they were packing it, but it's the order that came in. So it goes. Okay, what I'm planning to do with the wings, and so I'm going to give this a test. This is going to be a test run. I have these pearlescent paints, which, as you can see, glom up on the top of the bottles really quite nicely. Glomming up is an official relaxing painting. Okay, that's actually pretty cool. It's pretty cool that is if the cat wants to sit on the keyboard, you just get it a keyboard or a laptop. And if you sprinkle a little, what would be really good is then if you sprinkle just a little bit of catnip on it and heat it, make it warm. Yeah, they would really go for that. Okay. I always try to squeeze out a little drop of this, like a dot, but it's very viscous. This stuff is really viscous. It's weird. It's viscous, but it doesn't cover. It's more translucent than not. And what I am going to try to do, I want to see what happens if I put this pearlescent paint over the white. That ends up looking. There isn't a lot of detail on the wings, but what I'm thinking is that pearlescent would look good over the white. It's not bad. And then I might give it, after that dries, to bring out as much detail as there is on the wings. Get an even coat. I want to also see what this looks like. This is the color of the pants. Hi, Who. There you are. Yep. I've been waiting to do a flip until you got here. Okay, so I have to say these on this kind of divine figure, that those pants, even though they're kind of flat, I mean, and just there's no detail or anything, they look, I think they're looking mighty fine. What I want to test is what this blue pearlescent paint does to them. It would make them shiny. It doesn't change the color very much. I'm gonna have to show this during break. I'm gonna show this to Nicole and Alexis to see if they want those pants to be like shiny like that. It seems to be very dependent on the angle of the light. But like I said, it doesn't change the color very much, which is good because that color is pretty nice. Yeah, I think the blue's going to look good on the wings, and then I'll do a dry brush with the white on top of that. I'm going to, though, just thinking about this, because I know that I mess things up. I don't know why this one, yeah, I mean, he's just a hot angel guy, and he's going to have metallic skin. That was, I was told. And so just looking at how, you know, how this comes in contact here, I'm going to paint the silvery metallic body base coat now, because it's real likely that I'm going to get that on the wings somewhere where I don't want it, and I'll have to retouch it with the white. And if I put the blue pearlescent on first and then make a mess, yeah, there's two. Look. This one's going to be painted very similarly to this. Yeah, didn't it? I mean, wow. I mean, those are definitely hot angel guy pants. Anyway, I'm going to paint the body base coat because I'm going to get it out. If I get it on the wings after I put the pearlescent paint on, overcoat on it, then trying to fix little spots of that would be really quite hard. Whereas if I mess it up, I can get the white back on to fix the mess that I made. I'm going to... I have to decide, do I want to use the chainmail silver? I have to do a flip for who? I almost forgot to do that. For those of you who are like first-time chats, it's a tradition on Relaxing Painting with Dice and Dungeons to flip something. I don't know why. I don't know why there's a tradition to do that, but once it gets started, it's a tradition, right? So it just has to be done. So I've got these small pieces of things. I used to flip some pretty heavy stuff, but when I've got work out here like that, I don't want to destroy it. Because I actually did that once. I was flipping like a big jar cap. A cap like that. Okay. And I smashed into one of these and broke it. Yeah, that got flipped. Is that how it got started? On Destiny 2? A Destiny 2 stream? I remember when they were doing that. Like, that was a thing. I don't know if anybody ever watched them do that stream or not, but I mean, that was a thing. The chainmail silver is a little bit thick. It'll dry a little fast. I think I've got... It's just plain silver. It was really light, and the other one's a little bit... Okay, silver game. There's model colors and game colors. And the one I'm going to pick is game silver. I haven't used this before, so I'm sure that, yeah, it's going to need a lot of stirring. Game color silver. Yeah. So, are you prepared for this? You need to be prepared for a very lengthy vortex spinner thing. We are currently, well, I wish I was technically adept at this. We're doing a homebrew. Our DM Alexis created this incredibly complex world, just an amazing world, with maps and cultures and cities and everything. I think developed that years ago, and now we're playing that. Is it version 5? I think we're doing 5, D&D 5. And occasionally the rules get bent just a little bit for theatric effect because we're actually putting on a show, not just playing a game. So we're putting on a show that is now over 100 episodes long, so it's been lasting well over a year. And I will encourage everybody. Yeah, I should talk about that. Let me talk about Dyson Dungeons. Dyson Dungeons is started out and continues as a D&D streaming game. So we do a D&D show, essentially, in this world that was created by Alexis, our dungeon mistress. I play Ulseth Relf. I am a Furbog fighter. Yeah, 103. It's hard to imagine, hard to believe we've been doing this for like over 2 years now. The campaign's been so much fun that some of the very early episodes are still really fresh in my memory, which is surprising because hardly anything is fresh in my memory. Yeah, I think, what the rules don't get bent very much, but we do a lot of role-playing in the game. And so there's a way more role-playing than combat. And we stick to the combat rules pretty strictly, okay? But during the role-playing, like if we go into a magic shop, I guess what I should say is that we don't really break the rules so much as Alexis just makes things up. There's just, and she'll just throw these things out, and then they turn into, squirrel kind of thing for the party. So we were at this one place, and the cook was using a spatula. I don't know why Alexis did this. She regretted it immediately as soon as it came out of her mouth because she knew what was going to happen. So this was making pancakes. We wanted pancakes. So, oh yeah, the chase thing was totally new that she made up herself. I'll talk about that after I'm done with the spatula, though, because this is the kind of thing that happens on Dyson Dungeons. So we, our party likes to eat. We don't eat as players because the crunching would show up in the microphone and make a mess and that sort of thing. But our characters are always in the search for the ultimate pretzel, for example. Anyway, we wanted pancakes, so we went to this place, and the cook was making pancakes, and then for some reason that will be forever regretted, as I said, Alexis says, well, the cook had a spatula that always flipped the pancakes perfectly. Okay, flipped them up, and they always landed right in the pan, right side down. Well, I mean, we had to have that spatula. I mean, seriously, how could you not? Once you find out that there's a spatula that magically makes sure that things get flipped and always land, I mean, theatrically flipped and always land in the pan, never on the floor or the counter, never come back down sideways, but always land perfectly in the pan, how would you not want that spatula? Well, that episode got seriously off track as we decided that we would try to get the spatula, and the only way to get it was to beat the cook in like a cooking contest. Not at all like Iron Chef, no, not like that at all, but I think we used 2/3 of the time allotted for that episode in the pursuit of the spatula. That's the kind of thing that happened. Sometimes we go to magic shops. You can't go to a place. You can't go to a new town and not go to the magic shop. If there's more than one, you go to the best magic shop, but you go to the cheapest magic shop. Well, you can go to a magic shop and just buy magic items, right? But you can also go to the magic shop and look for the discount bin. Yeah. What kind of store, what kind of retail establishment doesn't have a discount bin? Where just miscellaneous junk is thrown into a bin and you root through it and then you just find stuff. And so, what do you do? You say, no, there is no discount bin here. Can't do that. So, she has to, she knows if we're going to a magic shop that we're going to look for the discount bin. The first time, I think, she was a little bit unprepared for that and just had to very extemporaneously make up the contents of the discount bin. Now she's a little more prepared because knows that whenever we go to a magic shop, after we find out that we can't afford, the really cool stuff, like the ring that gives you +2 to strength or the extra armor or something. So we have some very much off the books magic items. Like the magic frying pan that all you have to do is say flame on and it heats up. This is shiny. I'm using this little tiny brush just to get the boundary between the silver and the wings. And then I'm going to use a larger brush to fill it in, because otherwise with this little brush it would take a bit of time. There's no clear demarcation line on the back here between, where the wings start, so I'm just going to have to make one up, I guess. Anyway, that's the kind of stuff, the miscellaneous magic items that show up in the discount bin. Those are the kinds of things that they're not in the rule book. Okay? You won't find those. You won't find the magic spatula there. And then we always do these unpredictable things. Like there was in one place we were at, one of the cities, there was this well of darkness. And that's all we knew about it, is that it just emanated evil, right? It looked like it was a bottomless pit. And so what do? When you encounter a bottomless pit that exudes evil, you throw stuff in it. What else would you do? So that was another example of something that had to be made up, is I think we threw in a potato. Because we had a potato. Why do we have a potato? We have a potato because one of our characters got a magic knife that, when you go like this, you call it out and it makes raw ingredients. Nines, the Tabaxi Bard, had made the potato, and, well, there's this bottomless pit of evil. And we had to throw something in it because that's what you do when you encounter bottomless pits that exude evil. So what does the DM do? I don't know. Sometimes I wonder what she's thinking. You know, if she does this on purpose or whether it's just a mistake, but the potato got thrown back. So when you're yeah, but the DM doesn't make up the discount magic bin, the discount bin. The players have to come up with that idea. I'm at the magic shop. Is there a discount bin? You know, like when you're at like Best Buy, right? There's this wired box, and it's just filled with this jumble of miscellaneous junk, and you have to root through it to even find out what's in it. That's how those things work. You know, if you didn't have to root through it, no one would buy this stuff. But if you root through it, you do. So I'm going to digress. I'm going to tell this story about how discount bins work. This is how they work. When we were much younger, my wife and I used to do antique shows. We'd buy things at auction, and then we'd go to a show and we'd set up a table and we'd resell the stuff, and we'd make our table rental and gas money, and sometimes we'd make a little bit of money. I'm not sure. It wasn't really a business in the sense of we were counting on it to make a living or even extra spending money. Actually, it was kind of a way of getting rid of stuff that we got at auction that came with something else and we didn't want it. Anyway, so sometimes we just, it's like that's a spot that didn't get painted. So we'd get these things like spatulas, right? I mean, literally there would be a spatula. Or advertising bottles or can openers or something, things that weren't worth very much. And we put them in a box and said every item was $0.25. Okay. So if you wanted something from the box, you'd have to root through the box, and whatever you picked out was $0.25, 25 cents. Which even back then was not much, right? And it was cheap. So one day we said, well, instead of making people root through this box, dig through it, we had some extra table space. So we just laid the stuff out on the table. And there was still a sign there that said, any one item, 25 cents. It was the same stuff, the same price, but nobody even looked at it. And we said, this just isn't working. What the heck? When we had it in a box, people would come up and they'd be rooting through it all the time. And so we took the items and we threw them in a box and recreated the order box, and people just started rooting through it, and we started selling items. It was the weirdest thing, but that's how discount bins work. They're full of stuff that nobody really wants, really, right? And the only way to sell it is you get people invested in the search. It's like, oh, I'm rooting through this box. Actually, I wonder if she doesn't already have that. So anyway, yeah, what we learned, when we were selling antiques at the show is that discount bins are discount bins because that's the only way you can sell the stuff. If you had them all nicely on a shelf, no one would even look. They'd just walk right by. But if you root through, it's like, I might find something in here. And the thrill of the hunt, people just start digging and yeah. So yeah, that's why there are discount bins, and of course every retail store, unless it's a really high-end one. I mean, if you're going into, I don't know what high-end ones are anymore. Buy high-end stuff. I mean, I imagine if you went to like a Gucci store, something like that, they probably don't have a bin full of marked down items on the way to the checkout counter. They don't even have checkout counters, probably. That would be like beneath them. They probably have like concierges who come up to you if you're looking at something, and they pick it up for you and carry it for you and take your money and everything. You don't even have to, sully yourself by carrying your item around the store to the place where you paid for it. But I don't know that. Anyway, I'm guessing that places like that don't have discount bins. So really wealthy people who have more money than taste, that kind of thing, who are willing to pay exorbitant prices for stuff that's actually oftentimes really ugly. Because some of the stuff that they call fashion really is hideous. Anyway, I imagine people like that don't enjoy rooting through discount bins, or actually they probably do enjoy doing that, but it's like, oh no, someone might see me rooting through the discount bin and they'll think that something or other that someone would think that they shouldn't think that they would somehow care about. Anyway, yeah. But our DM, the first time we did that, said, oh yeah, of course there has to be a discount bin, and now is prepared, I'm guessing is prepared for every time we go into a magic shop for our discount bin. What did I get the last time around? I have no idea what it is. Okay, I have to find somebody who the magic store owner didn't know what it was either. That's handy for the DM. I don't know. I just made it up. But it was some sort of insubstantial glowing thing that was sort of there but not at the same time. It was cheap, so I bought it. Just going around here, this is the time when one must rotate the work in many directions to make sure that there are not spots that are missed. I saw a spot on the wing that didn't get any white paint on it. I'm going to have to go back and find that and put a spot of white paint on it. If I'm looking at this, the camera angle, yeah, that's very shiny. I was going to put a wash on that. I have to do my test bit again, my test swatch with what's left of this paint here. Almost thinking other than the wings, that some of these colors are just going to stay the way they are. Thank you for the follow. Really appreciate it. I'm glad to have so many people on today. And I'm not even doing submarines. Okay. I saw two things that required attention. One is that there was a spot on the pants, in the back here, where the paint didn't cover. This is the annoying part of these things, is putting on like these glasses like this and then finding flaws. Tempted, it's really close to just not doing any kind of wash on these things. And then I'm going to touch up the white. There was a spot somewhere that didn't have paint on it. I need to find it again. Pretty obvious place too. Oh, there it was, right at the top of the shoulder. Anyway, I was telling the tale of Dyson Dungeons, and as usual with me, I just, got off onto what rules, and then where do you break the rules? You break the rules at the discount shop, obviously, and then, why are there discount bins? And you get to the anecdote about when we used to sell stuff and how we couldn't sell things for a quarter. Well, great. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. I know that, anyway, this is a feature rather than a bug, is I just, I get to be old and I get to wander off and do, just digress onto all sorts of weird stuff. So, like discount bins and things like that. Sometimes I talk about 1960s television. I did that on Monday. The transition in the 1960s from everything was Westerns. There were billions of Westerns: Bonanza, Wagon Train, Rawhide, Gunsmoke, Maverick, Have Gun Will Travel, Johnny Yuma the Rebel, Davy Crockett had a show, Wyatt Earp had a show. Just, there were like a dozen of these things. But then in the 60s, the James Bond films came out, and then all the rage was spy shows. So that's where we got I Spy and Man from U.N.C.L.E. A Doctor Who fan. My wife is a big Doctor Who fan, and I watch it kind of, I don't pay attention to it, but it's on in the background, so I know some things about Doctor Who. But yeah, I really kind of enjoyed the episodes that I've seen. But I have to say that I really like the show, but I don't watch it that much. So I'm going to be taking a break at about 15 minutes, and my breaks are always way too long, but this one will be about a half hour, and then I'll come back and continue to work on this guy. But what I need to do is I'm going to put the blue on the wings. Okay, this pearlescent blue. And then I need to show this to Alexis and Nicole. 60th anniversary. Yeah, unfortunately, I can almost remember when it started. Almost, but not quite. I'll have to catch those. Thanks for mentioning that, because it sounds like it would be, I mean, Doctor Who really is pretty cool. Everybody has their favorites, right? The favorite Doctor Who's. So who's your favorite Doctor Who? I think my favorite Doctor Who was, I can't remember names and stuff very much. Sometimes they'll pop up and it's like, oh, I remember that. And other times they escape me. But the one who had the big scarf. It's one of my favorite Doctor Who's. I think that was actually something that was that you could buy, right? People were selling these scarves, the Doctor Who scarves. It was an interesting, doing kind of a meta Who there, an interesting ploy for the producers and writers to be able to like get rid of an actor, or to have an actor, because actors move on and they want to do other things, right? So you lose your Doctor Who actor, but you didn't want to lose the show. So to have a character that just kept changing became a great convenience. Kind of like everybody, unless you were somebody they needed to fire. There was one Doctor Who, I can't remember what, it was maybe 10 years ago or something, who was just a terrible Doctor Who. I mean, it was a big deal. I think this was like a big name actor or something who got to be Doctor Who, and they're making a big deal about it because this person was coming on and whooing, and it nearly ruined the character, if I recall correctly. It lasted like one season. It was like a mutual thing. It was like, well, I can't do, if you're not going to let me do Who the way I want to do Who, I'm not going to do Who. And everybody was like, yeah, that's good with us because we don't like the way you're doing the Who. Yeah, but I forget who that was, but it was somebody who was supposed to be amazing and wonderful and big name, and just about destroyed it all by being an ass, essentially. I'm going to catch up with Chad in just a second, because what happens is I have trouble. Oh yeah, so you've been paying attention regularly for a long time. That's really cool. I needed to get a smaller brush to get that, just that one little bit there, and maybe in here. Get this in some places I want it less even, and in others I want it more even. Kind of liking the way this is turning out without doing yet even more to it. And make the tops of the wings kind of dark. I think I want to do that, just put a little extra on the tops. So the next Doctor is coming. Yeah, Tennant was a huge favorite. He was a good Who. Yeah, and then we had a woman be Who for a while, didn't we? I don't know how long. Like I said, I haven't really been watching it. How many seasons did she get? Yeah, but it was an interesting. It was just an interesting thing to do. But 3 seasons, okay. Wow. Okay. That could be a lot of fun. Maybe I will check it out. Okay, I don't need these on right now. I don't know why I have them on. Because I can actually sort of see. Yeah, that can happen to a show, is that somebody gets it in their head, like, I really know what I'm going to be doing with this. And then it turns out maybe they didn't know what they were doing with it. Or they just weren't able to pull it off because of resources or disagreement or something. But yeah, there are some shows that were just so, like I said, I didn't pay attention to it that much, but there were some like villain kinds of things there that were just really like amazing. There was one, and maybe it's a recurring thing, I don't know, with the statues. If they were immobile, if you looked at them, they didn't move, but they moved when you looked away. That was really creepy. That was wonderful. Yeah, that's it. The Weeping Angels. It was, wow. That was nightmare causing. So sometimes the writers can really come up with something that's unique, unique and memorable. And that was one of them. Okay, well, this is getting pretty close to I want it, at least at this point. There's some spots here on the wing tips that could probably do some better shading on parts of this, but I'm not that adept at it. I'm going to clean these brushes. And I'm going to show this to Nicole and Alexis and get their opinion about what yet needs to or should be done to it to make it look like what they want it to look like. Going to I wanted to do some things with this white pearlescent. I wanted to see what the white pearlescent looked like on the silver skin, this spot, and also as maybe a dry brush highlight on the wings, although they look okay kind of the way they are. Yeah, the pearlescent doesn't show much on the silver, but I think what it would do is it would tone it, if you look at it with the light right, it would tone it down a little bit and maybe pick up some of the detail. I'm not sure. And then I'm not sure that this adds much to the wings. Yeah, it's not bad. It gives it kind of a little sheen. So if I just sort of dry brushed it over some of the wingtips, it's just something to show them. Yeah, so I'm going to be taking a break. I'm usually back in about a half an hour. Usually I say I'll be back. I say I'll be back in a half an hour, and then usually I'm back in like 37 minutes because there's always something, right? Always something comes up during break. Like trying to get something to eat or getting distracted by, something, or, stuff like that can happen. So I'm going to take a break and then be back with Nicole is a real artist. I mean, seriously is an artist. Yeah, give me good advice about what to do or not do. To the rest of this. Sometimes it's, try this or whatever. Sometimes the advice is to do something that I can't do, that I just am not skilled enough. Well, this is what I would do. Well, yeah, you could do that because you have skills and a steady hand and, artistic knowledge. I put paint on things and mostly stay within the lines. That's my skill, is, as you can see, like with the belt, I can stay within the lines. Yeah, so after break, other than doing the thing she tells me you should do to make this look better, or at least try to do those things, other than every time I turn this, there's something, right? Just like one little spot. Again, yeah, so then I'll try to do those things and then finish this up after break. The other things I want to do after break are, because this is supposed to be Submarine Wednesday, is I am going to pull out the bits of the submarine that I haven't finished, that I need to, and maybe show people how the progress on that is coming along. And then talk about Dice and Dungeons a little more, and then probably get off onto some sort of digression about TV shows or TV commercials or things like that from the 1950s and 60s, especially the 1960s. Okay. Yeah, so it's going to be break time, and about 12:30 Eastern Standard Time, I'll be back continuing to work on whatever this is. See you then. Okay. It did come back. I had to do the end break process a couple of times. Late. 10 minutes late this time. Because I decided I would probably eat something. And then after eating something, and I thought, well, then I'll catch up on the news or something like that. And then I started chatting with someone, and I read something, and there's always something. There's just always something. I got some advice. The advice is we have this really light gray wash, which has hardly any pigment in it. And the advice was to put that on the silver bits. Okay. So I'm going to do that. The handle and head of the mace are going to be bronze and polished gold, respectively. Looking for the different colors here. There's the bronze. That's a really nice kind of darkish color. And then I need polished gold. That's just gold. This is polished gold. So that's going to be that. Leave the pants and boots alone. Do some white pearlescent on the wings, but just like start at the tips and work way up so that the wing tips are whiter. So I'm going to gray. That's the gray wash. I'm going to do the gray wash first. You're not going to be able to see very much of it, but the thought is that maybe some of the pigment will get into the musculature detail of the silver skin. We'll see. We will see how that works. Let me try this brush. Anyway, yeah, sorry. The breaks always take longer than I want them to, because then I want them to take longer. It's just always something comes up. In this case, it was getting a little bit of lunch. Being distracted by eating something. Like I said, it has hardly any pigment in it. And the idea is to just get it to just the little bit of pigment there is to just sort of settle in these deeper spots here. Base and the chest. I'm not sure it's really worth doing much on the back. The effect is pretty subtle, but that's okay. That's what I mean, just a subtle accentuator. And then I'm going to have to have deep blue piercing eyes somehow. Got that in a little while. I'll use the same color as I used on the boots and the belt. Or maybe the pants. Maybe I'll use that color for the eyes. Well, that's all I'm going to do with this wash. I'm going to set this down like this a little bit and let it dry for a second. I'm going to do the white pearlescent on the wings. Do that next. And then paint the mace, and then the eyes, and then the base. Okay? And this will be, this is pretty much going to be the pattern of the other one as well. So after I'm done with this one, then I'll probably just go right ahead and start base coating the other angelic figure using the same color scheme, essentially. This white pearlescent, it makes it lighter, but it's a different look than just the base coat underneath. So I think I think it's working okay. Yeah. So, Dice and Dungeons, I sort of started talking about this and never really got very far, did I? This is a group of friends and relatives who started a D&D campaign show. It's not just us playing in our basement, although the studio is in the basement. So I guess that's kind of a traditional thing. But yeah. So Alexis, our DM, talked us all into doing a D&D show. When we started that, 103 episodes, I guess. I was reminded that we have gone that far. I play one of the characters. I play a Furbog fighter. We all have tragic backstories. One of the tropes of the show is asking people to share their tragic backstory. And sometimes the DM plays along. It's her fault that a character shows up, right? Because people have to show up. But we almost always ask have them tell their tragic backstory. And it depends on Alexis's mood about whether or not there's a tragic backstory. Sometimes it's, I had a happy childhood, everything was fine, I have nothing to say, there's no tragic backstory, and all we can do is go, yeah, I guess we're not playing along that way this time. Let's go find a pretzel. So we'd go off and look for a pretzel, and sometimes there's a really great pretzel vendor in town, and occasionally it's so good we have a pretzel day. That's another whole story about how that happened. But that's an occasional thing. But sometimes we actually get a tragic backstory. I think once or twice the tragic backstory just let's just say it wasn't terribly tragic, but the story went on and on and on, and so we as characters just sort of wandered off and stopped listening. It was that kind of thing. And sometimes there's no tragic backstory, but as characters, we have tragic backstories. I lost my entire village mysteriously somehow. They just disappeared one day. And then as a Furbog fighter, was tutored by basically an elven ranger. Well, an elven fighter, because I became a fighter. That's how I did that, not because I was raised that way in my village, but because this elf who showed up as I was living alone where my village had been, showed up and became my teacher. Anyway, yeah, that's what Dice and Dungeons is really all about, is the Dungeons and Dragons campaign. How did I manage to go offline and come back on? I don't understand that. Unless I pushed the wrong button again. I don't think I did. Music is playing. Well, as long as it's back. Okay. That's the important thing. So I'm just highlighting these wings here and making them look, even more celestial than they were before. Did I somehow push the end stream button? No, I pushed the end break button. Well, Biz Live is back, so I guess that's okay. I don't know what happened there. The end break didn't end the break, so I was a little concerned about that, but maybe I messed up. Hope not. Anyway, so Dice and Dungeons is a Dungeons and Dragons campaign, and we stream 3 Sundays a month, except with occasional breaks for, holiday kinds of things when everybody is otherwise occupied. With a live chat, and then you can catch the episodes on YouTube or as a podcast. And if you are new to Dice and Dungeons, I would really encourage you to check out some of our episodes. I think you'll find them really entertaining. We are a good Dungeons and Dragons show. We really are. I have to say so myself. And this stream started because on those 3D printers behind me, we have produced dungeon tiles that feature in our campaign, usually when we're dealing with, significant combat that would happen like in a tavern or a castle or a sewer or things like that. In a little while, I will show you tiles and how they work and why we're very proud of them. Anyway, this stream started because those tiles are printed and then painted, and the recommendation was to stream the painting, and so we have. And this started out as a stream of the painting of the dungeon tiles and minifigs that we use in our campaign. That's how that works. I need to paint the mace now. And this is going to require head magnifiers and a little bitty brush. I'm going to start with the handle. That's the most difficult part because it is in contact with the shoulder and the hands and all sorts of things. I'm going to paint it bronze, which is a very nice dark brass, it's bronze, it's like dark brass, right? I'm assuming that the stream is on because it says live is back. And the uptime of the session continued. But somehow or other, the end break button turned off the stream, and then sort of had to restart. Well, this guy is getting close to being done. I need to paint the handle and the head of the mace, and then the base. I'm actually going to paint the base a color that looks very much like the primer. It's just a neutral gray. So as not, we don't want to distract from the shininess of whatever this is. Oh, and I need to do the eyes blue. At some point along the way here, I need to remember to do that. Anyway, yes. The submarine part started because sometimes I don't have, sometimes I just don't have minifigs or dungeon tiles to paint. And so I've got just dozens and dozens of model kits that I bought when I retired because I thought I would have all of this time and nothing to do with it, which turned out not to be the case. Okay, but at the time I thought that would happen, so I thought, well, I'll build models. That's what I did with my spare time when I was a kid. It was like to escape from family and stuff. It's go down in the basement and build models. That was a nice, safe thing to do. No one minded that. It wasn't, delinquent behavior or anything. So it was a very successful escape. I never got very good at it. Didn't have the tools, didn't have the mentoring, didn't have the skills, didn't read about how to build models, but I built models. Mostly it was just buying models. And that's what you did back then when you were a kid. You bought a model, glued it together. Airplanes are all molded in kind of this gray plastic. Didn't really have any paints, at least not initially. Later on, I started getting some paint. You glue it together, use tube glue. Tube glue just got on everything. It was way too viscous. There were these spider webs of cement formed everywhere. Got on one's hands, couldn't get it off your hands, so it got from your hands onto the model. Let's just say that these things were kind of a mess. The parts didn't really fit together. They had big seams in them. But, when you're 9 or 10 years old, it looked sort of like an airplane, right? You had the wings and the fuselage, and the parts didn't fall apart. Put the decals on, and then, in the span of probably like maybe an hour and a half or something, like one afternoon on a Saturday or whatever, there would be a model airplane. Anyway, yeah, that's how models got done when I was a kid. Anyway, now I take more care. I didn't really develop any kind of modeling skills until later on. When I got into high school, I still built models, but I started building Ed Big Daddy Roth pink models. And my mom didn't like them at all. But I think I had almost like the entire collection. The Rat Fink on a bike, Surf Fink, Angel Fink, Fink Eliminator, all sorts of those. And then what I did then, I bought paints for somehow or other. I got paint. It was all these Testors glossy paints. And I didn't, there was always seams, right? And I didn't want the seams to show. So I learned how to fill the seams in with paint and paint over them to cover up the seams. And then I actually learned how to mix colors. I got really quite good at custom mixing colors so that the models looked like they did on the box tops. I mean, they weren't like professional skilled models at all, but they were, better than anything I'd done before. That's where I learned some semblance of painting skills. And one of the first things I did when I didn't have a dungeon tile is they reproduced most of these back in the early 2000s, I think it was. And so I recreated, I have the collection of all of them again. And one of the first things I did before the submarine was I built one of them, the Finky Eliminator. I picked that one because I'd actually started it after I retired, and then it sat on a shelf for the better part of forever, without any future progress being made on the build. But brush down there. Yeah, of course I did. I got the brush to it, and then when I pulled it back, that's where I messed up. Anyway, yeah, I actually did a Fink Eliminator on the stream. Nobody really liked that. The Finks just didn't seem to catch on. There's not a... They had Big Daddy Roth fan club out there, apparently. Anyway, the Fink Eliminator came out pretty well. Better than I did it when I was like a teenager. At least I think so. My mom threw those all away. Got thrown out. So I can't, go back and look at them and see whether they really were good or not. So I'll assume that they were like mediocre. But, better than just than gluing a model together and putting the decals on. So after the Fink Eliminator, decided that once a week I would do something other than dungeon tiles, even if I had some. And that's how Submarine Wednesday started, because the very next model was the 1960s vintage Renoir cutaway model of the George Washington prototype nuclear missile launching submarine. That I continue to work on to this day, because it's taking forever. Because part of it is that the parts don't fit. Part of it is the detail that I'm attending to that I didn't when I built the original one. These are original kits. I bought 3 of them to get them parts for one, but they're originals. And production quality back then was terrible. Okay, I'm gonna have to let this sit. This gold might benefit from a second coat. We'll see. We'll see how it looks. Yeah, no one came back in chat. I don't know if it's streaming or not. go upstairs and ask somebody, because if no one's in chat, I can't tell. It says live is back after it went offline. I don't know why it went offline. Anyway, I'm going to finish this guy whether anybody's watching or not. But it would be a shame if somehow or other the stream failed here. Before I paint the base, I'm going to see if I can get the eyes on. The piercing blue eyes. Can I use this? If I can do it with a toothpick. Maybe I can try. I'm using the pearlescent blue. That's piercing. Okay, well, I got it all over its face, but I should be able to retouch. I'll be able to use the silver paint to fix this. Instead of piercing blue eyes, this guy now has piercing blue blobs and piercing blue nose. Yeah, this all went very badly. So there's piercing blue blobs, but I'll be able to repaint that. I'll fix it. I'll be able to fix that, I think. But first, while I'm waiting for that to dry before I fix the face, I'm going to paint the base. I used a little brush to get around the feet. Just outlining the feet, and then I'll use a larger brush to fill it in. And this paint actually is really close in color to the gray primer. So the base is going to look pretty much like it's looking now, except it won't have blobs of blue around the bottoms of the feet. And after this is done, I'm going to go back up and try to fix the face. Oh my! Huh. Yeah, there's a piece of the boot that has an unpainted spot on. So fairly typically, when it gets to this point in being done, I end up having to go back with like 2 or 3 different colors, with little dots, just little dots of touch-up. And that's what seems to be lurking on the horizon for this one, because there's a spot on the boot. Oh, it isn't mist. I got a spot of this gray paint on it somehow. Witlessly, managed to touch it with the tip of this brush. And I probably could try to wipe it off, but that would likely lead to disaster. I'll just get some of that paint out and just touch it up. It's weird. I mean, I just saw this dot. I thought, since this paint is the same color as the primer, I thought there was a spot I missed, but no. I managed to touch the boot with the brush. The most common oops on this stream. Paint brush going to or from the surface. In this case, going to the surface. Sticky tack is on the edge there. Going to the surface, got a spot of paint on where it shouldn't have been. Lovely. Okay, get that paint out of that brush. I'm going to need the turquoise and the game silver. Be able to finish this, and I think I'll put some base coat on the other one, just to do that, get it going. But after I finish this, I want to show off the dungeon tiles. I like to do that on every stream because that's what we're all about, is Dungeons and Dragons and dungeon tiles and stuff. Dot of this. It's literally, there is a dot of gray. The undotted, there it is, that was it. And the face is going to require a little bit more care because I tried to do piercing blue eyes and managed to just get paint all over the place. Well, since I'm getting this color out, maybe I'll base coat this skin on the other. I mean, why not? The color's out already. And I've got 45 minutes left. This might be streaming or it might not. I don't know what happened. But if you get cut off, I apologize. I will be back on Friday. We'll continue working on these minifigs. So way more than I need to fix the face because I'm going to be base coating the skin on the other one of these things. But now I'm going to try to fix the mess I made of these eyes. I'm going to let them be larger than they should be, just so that they show. mean, they're way bigger than they should be, but you can see them. And if this appears on our stream, who knows, it may or may not. I want the piercing blue eyes. Anyway, this guy's finished. Ah, okay. Thanks, Who. Yeah, it did blip. I'm not sure why. It went off and then came back. The return from break button didn't work. It just like shut things down. So I pushed it again and it did work. Yay. But I'm glad to hear that the stream is still going. Okay, well this, whatever it is finished. Okay, and then this one, which seems to be, it's not the same character at all. This one is an actually named character. I'm just going to be painting it the same color scheme. This is going to be painted that nice blue-green color. Same thing with the wings, white undercoat, blue, and then white. And the flesh is all going to be silver. And since I got the silver paint out, I'm setting this aside. And I'm going to do the base coat on this one because I've got the paint. There it is. And after that, I am going to show off dungeon tiles. You know, just like, you need these for this. This for like a lot of the TV shows back in the 50s and 60s, like Captain Kangaroo and Ding Dong School and all of those other things that we ended up watching because, you know, TV, and get home from school, what do? Your mom gives you a snack, says, there's cartoons on, go watch TV, which is a way of saying I don't need you in the kitchen while this guy's got little pieces of armor. Okay, well those will get painted some sort of blue color. He also has a dangly bit on the bottom of its arm. Yeah, so, you know, end up watching those kinds of things all the time. And I forget, I got distracted by the little blop on the bottom of its arm. But I'm glad the stream came back. It was weird. I hope there's still people who came back from break. I really need to shorten the breaks because I disappear for so long, and people who are watching and kind of listening in and things it just stops, and the interruption's too long. So this is my New Year's resolution, starting before the New Year. Okay. I'm going to keep my breaks under 30 minutes, and I'm going to be making a real effort, a sincere effort to actually keep them down to like 20 minutes. So anyone who's on the stream or listening to this later, when it shows up on YouTube, that's my New Year's resolution. Not, whatever. I've never really made a New Year's resolution. I just thought, well, yeah, why promise to do something that you're going to end up not doing anyway? But this is something I am going to make a sincere effort. And I guess that's just its hands, but there is this little piece of armor here. It's forearms. They're not, so yeah, I know. I have to say that they're not forearms. There's only two. Can't say forearms without making that stupid reference. So yeah, those are going to be painted probably. I'll do it the same color as the belt on this other one. this is just really weird. Okay, this character has one of those skirts, that goes right on up to their thigh like that. It's very weird. This particular one is just really odd, I have to say. But that color scheme seemed to work on the first one, so I'm just repeating it here. Yeah, I love doing the base coats when I can just like use a bigger brush and get the paint slopped all over the places that are just going to get painted over later. And there's another shiny skinned celestial kind of thing. The head is painted all the way around. This one actually has sort of a demarcation where the wings end, unlike the other one. Okay, well, there's that. I'm going to use the same thing with the weapon, like brass and gold. So these are the colors. Plus the one that fell on the floor. There we go. Yeah, I said I was going to show off some dungeon tiles, so let me do that. I'm just going to show the wood ones this time. I'm not going to go through the whole routine with the others, because the wood ones are the pretty ones. I can show off this one. This one's pretty cool. This has a built-in sigil. So these get printed on the 3D printers, and then they get painted on the stream. And in this particular case, this is like a fire mage lair. This is just one of 3 sigils that are on the walls because they're fiery. See, big flamey stuff. And that's all just. This is all just hand painted. It's primed and then base coated gray, and then the accent blocks are put in, and the whole thing's washed with a dark gray wash. And then the sigil is hand painted as well. And this is copper, red, black, and brass. And the sigil is printed right into the wall as part of the 3D print. And it comes out looking really good. But the really cool part about these tiles, these are wooden, represent wood, so they can be used for like taverns or warehouses or mansions and that kind of thing. These are printed as well. The wall and the floor are printed as one solid piece, so that it's very sturdy, keeps its 90-degree angle. They match up with each other, so that there's that. And these again are primed. There's a base coat of brown. The brown is then washed with like a smoky ink kind of to bring out the color and the wood grain. And then the stucco is painted. And they're painted on the back too, so that, like if you had a wall with a door, we have opening doors, and you go through the door outside, and if there was a street scene, and we have street tiles, cobblestone street tiles, if they were out here, you could go out, you could do some role playing and do it on screen. You could do some role playing inside, bigger with floor tiles and stuff. Go outside, go out on the street, and you would see the outside of the building. The best part about these tiles, though, and you might have heard the clicking and see it move, is that underneath this block here, are ball magnets in each corner, little 2 ball magnets in each corner. And because they're ball magnets, they rotate, and they rotate in a way so that they attract each other. And so when you want to take them apart, and connect them, it is incredibly easy to do that. So if you had enough of these tiles, you could build, a pretty elaborate warehouse and then say, take a break and come back and have a pretty elaborate tavern by just rearranging the tiles. We have corners, of course, floors. There's one that actually has a trapdoor built into it, okay, which is pretty cool. Doesn't have to be a trapdoor. It could just be a door down to the cellar. Like if you're in a tavern, that's where you'd keep your beer, right? If you were in some sort of mansion, you might have a carpet over it, hiding a real trapdoor, a secret trapdoor. But this is, the whole way that these attach to each other is really pretty amazing. So that's how this stream started, painting these things for use in our D&D campaign. And then that's how the stream continues. In this case, painting minifigs of things that may show up later in our campaign. I don't know. Keeping things moving. I've got almost a half hour. I might as well keep base coating this guy. I might get this one almost completely done. And then on Friday, I'll either take up the big fungus monster. That might be an interesting thing to do. Or one of these little fairy-like things. There's one that's sort of a ranger pixie. I might do that. And, do it in different colors of greens and browns. I'm holding a lantern. It's kind of like Tinkerbell, really. Okay, I'm going to put these on just at the beginning so that I can paint the boundary between the wings and the body. Paint in the middle here. Paint the boundary between the wings and the body using my little micro brush, and then I'll get out a bigger brush and paint the rest of the base on the wings. This is my go-to brush for detail kinds of things. I got paint on that, but that's the part that gets painted blue. Okay, this is that it is not wanting to stick. That was kind of a shock. Little gravity blip there. Base coating these white, and then I put a blue pearlescent paint on it, and then I do highlights with white pearlescent. And that turned out looking pretty much okay on the other one. So I'm just going to repeat the same color combination on this particular one, because it seems similar to, like maybe they're on the same team. Brush out so that I can get the wings done in some reasonable amount of time. Pretty good. This is like the third time I've used this brush, and I haven't lost the little plastic tube. I'm going to use this large soft bristled brush. Now there's just no detail at all on these wings. No feather pattern. You have to be imaginative in using the pearlescent paints for shading, which is unfortunate because I'm not that good at it. If Nicole was doing it, she would do like amazing shading. Paint all over the pommel of that sword. Such a deal with that. Yeah, it's covering okay. These lighter colors, I don't know. Some paints just seem to cover really well. Like that blue, the green blue color that I used for the pants on the other one. Let's bring it back. Yeah. That blue, that covered really well. These yellows, oranges, those just don't cover it well. I'm not worried about this thick coat, particularly on these wings, because there's no detail on the wings to cover up. Otherwise, I'd be using, I'd say, well, I'm going to put 2 or 3 thin coats on. But there's really nothing there. I mean, the only texture is almost like the brush strokes. They come from applying the paint. Okay, well, it's got white wings. The way I did this on the other one, which turned out to look, pretty okay, is I used blue pearlescent paint to cover them, and then white pearlescent paint to highlight the wingtips. I think, especially on camera, it's like a movie prop, that it isn't all that great, but on camera it looks good. I think this guy looks like it should. It's got gigantic blue piercing eyes because I just let them be way larger than they should be so that they will show up on camera. Got a misshapen nose though. His left side is his good side. His right side, there's like a little, like a divot in the nose. Anyway. So I still got a good deal of time left, so I will paint. What the heck? Let's paint this giant flowing gown thing. Whatever. So once again, what I will do is use the little brush to paint the boundary between the gown thing and the body, and then use a bigger brush, probably like this, to finish it off. The white water will turn into milky blue white wash water like the other container did. I was going to bring out the submarine bits, but I'm not going to do that. It's just, I'd have to go off camera and bring them up and wave little sticks around. And I mean, literally, I've got little balsa wood sticks that I'm going to be using to hold the tubes. Well, I can't say me, I won't do that. Let's see how much time this takes. These are really inexpensive. You get like 20 of them for $5 or something. I don't think they're that cheap, but they're pretty cheap. This one looks like we'll see how it cleans up, but it might very well be nearing the end of its useful life. The tube, and the coverage tube back when we can find it. I'm silent here as I attempt to paint the waistline of this, whatever it is it's wearing. It's like one of those sleazy evening gowns, split leg, you know. Okay, well, this would work a lot better if it would stay put. Becomes a little bit of an issue of reach here. I'm not too worried about getting paint on the sword because that gets painted later. But I don't want it all over the leg. I don't want to have to keep coming back and forth doing touch up. To do this stuff with the little brush because the big brush is not going to reach there. Do a little silver touch up on the hand. And here, got blue on it where it shouldn't be. I'll do what I can. And that turned out adequate. Is it adequate? It is adequate. This is coming along. Be able to use the larger brush soon, and then it will be done quickly. I just want to go around the edges one more time, take a look at how they look. Oh, other part of the leg here. All right, clean this brush so it doesn't get ruined. I'm going to get the larger brush out, maybe squeeze out more paint, I'm not sure. And then paint the rest of the gown that this one is wearing. Excuse me. Yeah, it's a little chilly in the basement here. And the old nose starts to run. It's a funny phrase. I mean, obviously my nose is still on my face. It's not going anywhere. Not even at a slow saunter, much less a run. But that's one of the weird things about the language, right? You get all these phrases that you use all the time. I don't know, I shouldn't say that are in common usage. I can't say that you use them. You might not ever say my nose is running because you know how weird that sounds. So you don't want to say that. You don't want to sound weird, like your nose is jumping off your face and at a very fast pace going off somewhere else. So not wanting to say that, you probably would never say, my nose is running. Better go catch it. That's the appropriate response. If one is like, I don't know, 9. Absolutely refuses to stick. Well, my nose is excreting liquid. That sounds really gross, doesn't it? Saying my nose is running is probably just a better way of describing the situation because it's pretty chilly here in the basement. Workshop, painting, really a studio. So we have a really elaborate studio for the Dungeons and Dragons campaign with different lights and microphones of different kinds and filters, all sorts of stuff. When this stream started, it was like, well, I've got this Ring camera. We have one of those left over from something, I don't know what. We'll just use that because, you know, it gives you light, it gives you a camera. It is certainly adequate for the job, which is just to watch some old guy put paint on minifigs and submarines and stuff. So yeah, and then there's a microphone that I don't know. I think we bought it on sale early on. It's unusable for anything else, but again, seems to be adequate for this job. Well, then this is coming along actually pretty well. I still have some time left to, I think I'll just paint the, whatever they are, the bracers. I'm not going to do the blue, yeah. Get near the end of the stream. I'm really getting near the end of the stream. I'm not going to do the blue on the wings with the pearlescent today. I'm going to stop after I get the bracers painted, base coated. And that will be it for relaxing painting with Dice and Dungeons, except for a recap and a preview of things to come. But I think I've got time. There's 10 minutes left. I might as well use the time, right? To paint the bracers. That just happened to be, for some reason, on the arms of this guy, just probably to make the whole painting process a little bit more difficult. To create another excuse for putting head magnifiers on. But the important part of the stream was talking about discount bins at magic shops during a D&D campaign, because, you know, it's a show and not a campaigns necessarily. I mean, in the sense of like a tabletop game among friends. You're actually on quests and things. We do have those. We have quests. In this case, we became mercenaries. Early on, we were all invited to become mercenaries in a thing called the Company of Blades, which is like a world-renowned mercenary group. So I guess it was quite an honor. My character was highly suspicious, because my character has a code of honor. And I had to be convinced that this wasn't like a kill for hire kind of mercenary group, but that it only, you know, or at least we could accept only the jobs that seemed to fit into my code of behavior. Anyway, we joined the Company of Blades, and so we don't have quests so much as we have jobs. Famous now, we get people ask for us by name. You must ask the name of our excuse me. Yeah, it is getting time to wrap up. The name of our mercenary group is Midnight Brunch. And in order to understand that, you need to need to know our group pretty well, so you go back through some old episodes on YouTube. That's one way to find out. But a lot of it has to do with our fixation on food and and having been in a town that was nocturnal. And so, we named ourselves after an event, the Midnight Brunch. Because that's when brunch was, at midnight, because it was nocturnal. It's not the worst name. I mean, there are groups that are named worse than that. Not that they're bad names, it's just that they're not good names. But that's who we are. And come join us during a stream on Sundays at 2 with a live chat. Or catch up with all of the old episodes. Get to know our characters and our backstories by checking out Dyson Dungeons on YouTube or as a podcast. And you can do that. You can do it as a podcast and just listen without having to see us. In fact, there's some advantages to not having to see us, but just listen to us. Because then you don't have to see us. Much more fun to listen to than we are lovely to look at. There we go. So this celestial is another celestial, I guess. Is now base coated. There isn't too much to do on this, so I'll be finishing it. I'll be finishing this one up on Friday, and then moving on to other things. This one is finished. Okay. That's what it looks like. And the same thing is going to happen to this one, in that it's going to have giant blue piercing eyes. The wings are going to be overcoated in blue pearlescent paint and then highlighted with white pearlescent paint. There's going to be a little bit of gray wash put on the skin. You can see a little bit of it, it darkens it a little bit and highlights some of the features. And then the sword, I'm going to carry out the same motif. The hilt is just going to be bronze, and the blade is going to be polished gold. And then the base, I'll just paint gray like this. And then we'll have a pair of whatever these are. Okay? So yeah, I'm going to finish this one up on Friday. And then probably, I think what I'll take up next is this little pixie-like thing, this Tinkerbell-like figure that's got green and brown leather clothes and a lantern. And then I'll have to figure out how to deal with the wings, how to make them, what colors to paint them. But yeah, this will be kind of Ranger-ish. But like Tinkerbell, a little bit like the old Robin Hood movies. It'll be like not really creative colors, but like brown boots and a brown cowl and 2 colors of green, one for the pants and one for the tunic. A walking stick, paint the lantern brass or something like that. Nothing real fancy, but then I have to figure out what to do with the wings and how to make those look decent. I'd like to make them look transparent, but I don't think that's going to work. So, yeah, put these guys back on screen so that you can look. Yeah, I just stuck my finger in wet paint in this palette thing. Yeah. So there's one that's done, and there's one that's almost done. And this one will look more like this one, especially the wings, on Friday. Yep, that's it. Thanks for joining in. Really appreciate it. All the new follows, really appreciate that. If you're on YouTube, you can become a subscriber. And if you really like Dice and Dungeons, check out our Dungeons and Dragons campaign. And you can always go to, I have to say this at least once, patreon.com/diceanddungeons. That's patreon.com/diceanddungeons, and you can become a patron of Dungeons and Dragons, getting access to our DM session notes, the notes that she has put together for each of our sessions, and our warm-up improv sessions, which are sometimes really very silly and sometimes funny, but always, they're just pretty entertaining. So thanks again, and I will see you at around 10 o'clock on Friday morning. Bye.